Hi there, folks. Well, we're going to talk a little bit around psychological safety, this concept that has been coming up, particularly in the business world, as to creating more psychological safety. And I'd like to talk a little bit about what this means. What is psychological safety? Well, have you ever been in that scenario where you are with people around you and you just don't feel comfortable to show yourself? You don't feel comfortable, and by what do I mean by show yourself? You don't feel comfortable to share what you feel, share any ideas, add anything to the conversation because you feel you're going to be rejected, or you feel what you have to say is not worth anything. So what we do is we just shut up and keep quiet. Now this is where we don't have enough psychological safety, and there's been incredible research done in the business world as to why there's so much fear around being able to share one's own ideas, feelings, thoughts, and what one can do to increase the psychological safety. So psychological safety, what happens when we don't have it? Well, I feel this is when we see the drama triangle kicking in, or the dramas of life, because when we don't feel psychologically safe, we hold everything within us. And whether you're at the work or at home, it's the same concept. When we don't express ourselves verbally or through our expressions of what we want to say, that is going to come through our body language. It is going to come through one way or another. So for example, passive aggressive, where we go quiet and we kind of aggressively keep silent, and when your partner in life or somebody at work says, "What's wrong?" you go, "Nothing." And there is something wrong because that's the energy coming out. Well, that's part of this drama triangle, and we waste so much energy in trying to get to what people really mean, because they've got these masks of defensiveness, the masks of seeking acceptance, keeping quiet, and that is because they're not psychologically safe to say what they want to say. Now, where does this come from? Well, it is about our formative years when we grew up. I know in my era it was children should be seen and not heard, but to a large degree when we are young and you say something and it's not accepted, or you're told to keep quiet, there is this security system that kicks in, the masks. And as we grow up, we never forget these experiences in our life where maybe we said something and we were told, "No, keep quiet, it's not your place to say that." And we bring that into our adulthood, into the workplace. So without psychological safety, energy is wasted, time is wasted, conflict, most of our conflict, interrelationship conflict, is because there's not enough psychological safety to say what we mean and mean what we say. So it is very important to work with some tools to enhance psychological safety, to improve it, to make people safe, to reveal more of their authentic selves, and we're not just facing their masks, we're working with a little bit more. By working with psychological safety, it really does improve communication, both at home and the workplace. We come up with more creative ideas. Instead of conflict being around the characters, it's around the ideas, and we can come up with great solutions. So how can one actually open this up? Well, I feel the first way of working with psychological safety is to work with our own. Whether you're a leader or a head of the household, whatever, a father, a mother, a parent, it is about going inwards and working with our own psychological safety. I work in Beyond Thinking. We talk about preparing ourselves before we go into meetings, before we have any crucial conversations, and that is to understand our own fears, because fears, if we are not working with our own fears, we might shut ourselves off from others. And as we shut ourselves off from others, especially as a leader in the workplace, they're going to start telling stories in their head that make them feel very psychologically unsafe. So it is about going inwards and facing our own fears, understanding our own thoughts that are contributing to these fears. And yes, simple breathing exercises, settling oneself down, changing the meaning to change the feeling. We've discussed this in many other blogs, and it is on our Beyond Thinking program. But as you work with this, what happens is you calm yourself down and you're more open to others. Now, of course, there's wonderful things you can do for other people to make them feel psychologically safe, and I feel as a leader it's vital. And that is to listen. Listening for me is one of the most important aspects of making other people feel that they matter. Because if you're not listening, what are you telling them? Their point of view doesn't matter. And they feel the sense that the self-worth, and they shut down. Something else is to ask questions. When we ask questions with the intention to understand, as Stephen Covey says, it's when we ask questions and we're not cross-questioning, but we're asking questions because we want to learn a little bit more. And we can even tell them, "Listen, I don't know everything. I'd like to learn from you." I do that with my children even, especially when I was learning a little bit about Instagram. I said to my oldest daughter, please, I know nothing about this. Can I learn from you? Well, she was over the moon. And I feel in this modern day world, if you're not prepared to learn from your children, you're going to be very technologically backward. So yes, it's also about acknowledging that when we make mistakes, we are going to make mistakes. And especially in the workplace, when we make mistakes, it is part of the learning program, part of the learning curve. And I feel for leaders to explain this to their teams and say, listen, when we make mistakes, this is part of learning. We are doing something brand new. And if it's seen like that, then people will make mistakes, but they won't try and hide it. And we see this can happen quite often in a fear-based environment where there's no psychological safety. Mistakes are hidden, and this can just cause more damage down the line, whereas if somebody makes a mistake, they're not afraid to own up. So yes, there's so much around this topic, and these are just some ideas, folks. So as you go forward, just become mindful, pay attention to your psychological safety. How are you making other people feel around you? Are you dominating them? Are you noticing that they're making themselves smaller than their potential because of you? And I always say to any leaders, if you want to surround yourself by yes people, then what sort of leader are you? So until we chat again, take care and stay aware.